Welcome.
Welcome to the Fatal Vision podcast,
We're
baby.
back, baby. We're
We're
back.
back.
Took
It's
us a
over.
long
It's
time.
over for us.
Been a long time coming.
We're not gonna make it.
Not gonna fuck it up this time.
We got a 1-star review, Billy. Another 1-star review.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all over for us. So we just gotta hang it up. And I'm sorry about that we upset someone. And if you want to come to where I work and tell me how to do my fucking job, I look forward to meeting you there, you fucking asshole.
Look, Fatal Vision Podcast at gmail dot
Yeah.
com.
Error sound on there, but they made it to episode 5, so they're somewhere stuck in like July of 2024. So,
Yeah. Yeah, but
God,
we get feedback about how we voice opinions about unrelated things, and I see it. Our guy Kevin.
yeah,
I get it, and he's our guy. He's
yeah,
sending us stuff. He's sending us. Kevin is a friend of ours who gave us a nice review, and he and James have had a pretty amazing correspondence with him, pointing James in various directions for further research. Um,
yeah.
he and I also bonded over a shared love of a particular college football program.
A
So.
top tier fan, number top echelon, and
Mhm.
yeah, some people trying to start a civil war on us, and this is a fucking Mayday in here. So, what can we do? Can't do shit. We
Okay,
just
we
got to sit here
shot.
and take it. We just take it like a bitch, to be honest.
Oh man.
This is
Okay.
brutal.
Easy, man. Easy.
I can't take it. I mean,
It's
so I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm sorry, but it came out literally the minute before we started recording. So we're reeling. This is raw. This is raw. This isn't rehearsed. And well, anyways, you see what I got here? Yeah. So to get us back on track.
Well, no, they can't see it, but that
Well,
is.
no, I'm showing it to Billy. I was hoping to get
No,
like your real, like a
no, and I'll
shocked
say what it is.
reaction.
Well, I'm not shocked because you already showed it to me, but it is
Well,
the.
not on this podcast.
Yep, that is a copy of the Esquire magazine, the same edition, the same copy, not that
Not the
McDonald,
same issue, not the same exhibit that MacDonald had in
right?
his
Same
apartment.
issue, same issue. That's the word.
Yeah. There
So
was a,
J
there was
James
a,
has
there
been
was a
reading through that.
misunderstanding. Some people have been I've been telling some people, and their first reaction is that I have the Esquire magazine that would have been tagged and bagged as evidence
With his
from
blood
McDonald.
on it.
Yeah, no, don't have that. Don't want that. Um, I just have a legitimate Esquire magazine that was out there, and it's all from another good person, Matt, another super fan.
Matt
So
Zoney.
yeah, it's our guy. So he gave that to me as a gift. So it's a gift to the podcast. It's gonna be when I pass away, it's not gonna be it's gonna go to the foundation, to the podcast itself. The
The
proceeds will
archives.
go
The
to the
archives.
special gifts. Yeah.
You won't be leaving it to me.
No, 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 no. You're not in the will. It's
Okay.
it's, it's
All
pure.
right.
It's purely yeah.
If you change your
Oh, but oh,
mind,
but no, but I'll tell you right now that the reason we've been so busy lately is because of all the money has just been insane coming in from the podcast. Um,
yeah, very true.
yeah.
Very
So
true.
I've been so busy spending it. It's Bush League stuff going on here.
Um, it's okay, man. I don't want you to be upset. We talked about this in episode 25. We talked about people's feverish efforts to justify themselves. You and I knew going in, we are here to humble ourselves. If people hate us, they hate the way our voices sound, the things we talk about, that's okay. We're not
Yeah.
here for
No.
to gain their approval. We're here to talk about Fatal Vision, and that is what we're going to do tonight. So don't let it get you down, man.
No, I'm not down at all.
I mean, you were just talking about how raw you were feeling. So
Well, it's part of the it's a privilege for the audience to be able to hear how poorly I can take criticism.
you're
And
modeling vulnerability for the audience.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
showing
And
people.
it's the whole, and I wanted to point out the whole point of having a podcast is how humiliating it is for the hosts to be subject to other people's approval and more often disapproval or the vast majority of the time is complete and total indifference. So that's sort of where the zone we live in as
Hey
spirit.
man, your
Yeah.
wife was at a social gathering on Monday
Yeah.
and she
Oh,
talked to
yeah.
somebody named Scott
Yes.
who has been listening to every episode and we had no idea. And
No idea.
what did he tell your wife?
He said he loves it. He's listened to every episode and that he thinks it's hysterical the way we go back and forth. So
Okay.
that's incredible news. So yeah, that's called the great silent majority for a reason, you know. Um, so yeah, anybody who's out there who wants to sort of help our average, we're sort of crashing, burning in the app store there. So throw us some love. But if not, yeah, just bring on the hate. We're here. We're lightning rods. We'll take the hits.
We're here to do a job, man.
And
We're
I'll
here to
be
do a
compared
job.
unfavorably to morally indefensible all day long. You know, that's it's a
Okay,
funny.
so that is what the latest one-star reviewer did. He said that the
Yeah,
podcast you should listen to is morally indefensible. We agree.
yeah,
If you haven't heard morally indefensible, go ahead and turn this off. Go listen to the whole thing, and then come back.
yeah. It's amazing. The
We'll
reason we
welcome you
made this
back.
podcast is because it's over. It's been over for almost 5 years, so we had to try to create something else. So that's what we're here for. But
Yeah, but please,
yeah,
by all means, go listen to
yeah.
Morally Indefensible. I've
Let
listened
that
to
be,
it like
yeah.
5 times.
Let that be your anchor. Let that be your example for what a good podcast is.
Yeah, Mark Smerling is our better.
Yes.
And we hope to have him on the show sometime, frankly.
Yeah, he's more than welcome.
Mark, you're
Uh,
welcome here anytime.
yeah.
So,
So
James,
please, yeah.
you've been doing some research lately. You've been having some conversations. Do you want to update our audience?
Well, I can't well actually I
Any of
did
that?
talk to the lawyer before Dan Cornstein that my dad had in
The civil suit.
civil suit in 85, but I told him I was gonna it was off the record. Uh
Oh, okay.
and so
So
then he reiterated that he said my wife wanted to be sure that it was off the record and I
oh,
told her that you said that in your email. Just because he said some stuff that his that was said within the law firm about the case and you know, I
got it.
think there's probably some ethical boundary, so we'll leave it there. But yeah, I'll just tell you this, it was an amazing connection to make. And
Great.
yeah, Billy and I were just sitting there after I told him about this conversation, just we were picking our jaws off the floor, just
I spit my coffee out.
yeah, just at how far we've come in terms of the connections we've made and the conversations we've had and the people we speak to now. It's and I know that everyone's been transformed in and around us through this
Do,
whole
do
journey.
you want to put in a plug for our friend Matt Zoni? And I know you guys had a face-to-face
Yeah,
encounter
yeah,
for the
no,
first
no,
time. And
and that was not privileged, so I can speak about it. He's a great screenwriter. He's got an entire season down uh, about the making of and aftermath of Fatal Vision, and he's become a friend to Billy and myself, and I had a chance to meet him in person and his family on Friday, and it was just a lovely 2.5 hour chat. So It was a great time.
So
So,
close listeners of this
yeah.
podcast will remember that about 20 episodes ago, probably around the point at which this one star guy left, uh, I made a joke about the crime writer guy,
Hmm.
about dedicating an episode to the crime writer guy.
Yeah. That's the working title of the show, possibly the final title. Uh,
Yep. Yep. So little
and
did we
we've actually
know
given him like 3 or 4 shout outs since we've become friends,
that.
in real life. And well, the thing that we're trying to do is get his show produced. So, if you're sitting out there on a ton of capital and you want to make a fucking difference in the world, email us at the Fatal Vision Podcast at gmail.com, and we'll put you in touch with his manager, and we'll make a deal. And you'll have left your mark on the world instead of just spending your money frivolously.
And if you would like to come on the show with us,
Yeah.
or you'd like us to share your point of view on air, you
Mm.
should email us and we will definitely consider you.
Yeah, you will not be ignored. You might not be responded to or acknowledged, but you will be read. And more importantly, is that if you do have a lot of capital that you're looking to spend, you can also put it into a gift to Billy and me, and just to show support. Not as a you're not a donor, and it's not taxable, but you can write it. Yeah, we'll get into that later. There's a separate email for donors that we'll put in the dark web link
We're gonna have a
afterwards.
gala fundraiser for all the major donors at the Golden
Oh
Spike.
yeah. Oh yeah. It'll be no phones allowed type thing.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
yeah.
A very famous stand-up comic will be doing a set, and we came
Oh
up with
wow.
thinking, yeah.
Um
All right, so
yeah, so that anyway, that was awesome. All the meta commentary was
everything we
great.
just did was awesome. Definitely 5 star worthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
are now
Yeah.
at the end of part one, chapter 10. We got
This is the
halfway
part
through it.
is this part 3 or part 2 of chapter 10? We got half, so we did half of it last time.
Yeah, this is part two.
Excuse me.
So we only have a few pages left, and we had hoped to do the next chapter tonight as well, but James had some Wi-Fi issues. But just so you all know, after this chapter, there is only one chapter left in part one, and that is a Voice of Jeffrey MacDonald chapter. So we're going to do this one tonight, and we're going to link up again before long.
ASAP.
Before long, it won't be a week. We need to do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
we're going to finish.
I'm even willing to sacrifice parts of the workday on
Yeah,
this.
yeah, for
That's
sure, man.
that's how much this means to me.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. Me too.
yeah.
So, because we get to the end of part one, that's season one
That's
of
season 1.
Fatal Vision Podcast.
Yeah, and then maybe it'll be easier on people to start with season 2, just skip season 1 altogether when they're coming in clean so that they want it to be exposed to last year's content that's so incendiary. And just an idea. Because when people say that with like certain prestige dramas, like, oh, you got to watch the first 2 seasons just to get to the good stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about our show too.
Well, I'm on a rewatch of The Office right now, and
Oh yeah, you got.
obviously,
I don't even fuck with season 1. It's too
no.
fucked up to watch.
Yeah.
With like his hair is all different.
Yep.
It's very fraud. Um,
Episode one is a word for word remake
yeah,
of the British.
it's a Gus Van Sant style remake, just like shot for shot.
What's
Um,
up? Remember that?
yeah, it's like so good for us, man.
Yeah, well, Sopranos, episode one, the pilot doesn't even make sense.
Well, we could really go into that, but it doesn't make any sense. But definitely maybe want to watch more, but I did struggle a lot in college trying to get people to watch The Sopranos by and then starting them on the pilot and just seeing their eyes glaze over with boredom.
Yeah. That was
Yeah, it's a
before
really
TikTok.
that yeah, that was when attention spans were still something to write home about.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good point. The TikTok brain rot is really prevalent now.
All right, so
On
let's get into it, man. The last thing we heard Jeff
oh
say was, "You
yeah,
guys are more thorough than I thought." Now,
you said it twice.
well, yeah, he said it almost inaudibly, and then
Uh-huh.
you guys are more thorough than I thought. Let's see, man. Is there going to be more like back and forth?
Yeah, so we should probably so there's going to be a section break where he's Joe does a little bit of background on um Tina Carlucci, the the nurse in San Antonio who McDonald recognized her nose from the picture.
Hmm.
It looked or just said it looked familiar. So, but then it'll be moving back into interrogatories with versus McDonald. So, as a gesture of goodwill, I'd like to offer Billy the chance to be Jeffrey MacDonald tonight. Um,
Good, good. I've been
yeah.
working out all day.
Oh, good,
I
good.
popped a bunch of escatrol before I
Yeah, man.
um,
Oh, all right.
watched Easy Rider.
Uh, okay, so
Why
I'll
don't you
just
take us into the
yeah,
spirit of the text?
I'll take us into the background here that Joe's providing. On March 20th, a Women's Army Corps private had told the Fort Bragg CID that while stationed at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, the previous December, she and a friend named Tina Carlucci had been approached at a post-drinking establishment by two Green Beret officers who had invited them to a party at the Westerner Motel in San Antonio. The officers had said they were at Fort Sam Houston only for the weekend, participating in a special forces parachute jump. One of them, the one whom her friend Tina had accompanied, had been Captain Jeffrey MacDonald. Tina Carlucci had been located at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri in early April. She remembered the occasion very clearly. The date had been Saturday, December 6th. She and McDonald had spent the afternoon watching the Arkansas-Texas football game on television. That evening, as part of a larger group, they had gone to dinner at a restaurant called Valerio's. Oh, Italian, of course. McDonald had immediately taken charge, quote, ordering wine and the whole bit. He had, quote, very intelligent.
He had seemed.
He had seemed, excuse me, quote, very intelligent and well-mannered and, quote, right at home with a strange woman, very much at ease.
Hmm.
He had mentioned that every time he went on a trip, he went out with other women. His wife, he said, knew all about these adventures. She had never told him she knew, but he simply knew she was aware. He made particular reference to a party that had been held at the Sheridan Hotel in San Antonio the previous summer when he had been at Fort Sam Houston attending the physician's basic training course. Nurse Carlucci recalled that when the group had returned to the motel after dinner, McDonald had called his wife. He told me, he told her he would be home the next evening, told her he missed her and that he loved her. Then he asked about her pregnancy check. He wanted to know if it was positive or negative. She told him she was definitely pregnant.
That's all quoted material from Carlucci.
Yeah, no, he that didn't happen. That's not from me or Joe. Um, Later in the evening, while McDonald was taking a shower, one of the other guests at the party took a picture of Tina on the motel bed wearing McDonald's green beret. I'll offer a reward to anybody who finds that photo and sends it in.
All the money, all the
All the
money.
money, all the money is coming in from the mega donors. Uh, all right, this is Tina doing the talking. I was sick that night, she said. I had a bad cold and didn't feel like doing much of anything. He tried to make love to me once, and I told him I didn't feel like it. He didn't try to force himself on me. We took our clothes off and fondled each other, but there was no intercourse. We were together until 6 a.m. Sunday when he left for the parachute jump. He gave me some tetracycline and suggested I go on sick call Monday morning.
All right, McDonald defender. This is
Yeah.
what he said happened.
Hmm.
And he's still dispensing free medical advice.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. And she said he didn't try to rape her.
Yep.
Didn't even try.
Yep.
Fucking gentleman.
Yep. Class act. And he called his wife.
And Colette knew all about it. She was totally down. Just the unspoken.
All right. Well, after seeing
Oh,
the photo, oh, we got a section break, and then uh,
well, okay, yeah. So then you can
oh
take it up because he's gonna McDonald's gonna be jumping into the talking,
yeah, he's
and then we'll
gonna
do.
he's gonna start asking them some things. I'm doing the interview now. After seeing the photograph of Tina Carlucci, Jeffrey MacDonald was not quite so certain that he wanted to take a polygraph examination. Well, let me ask you a few questions here, man. You guys have been posing all the questions. What's the fallibility of this polygraph thing? You guys with your circumstantial evidence here, what happens with normal emotion?
That's taken into consideration, of course. When people are challenged, there's a little more nervous tension than usual. Absolutely, Grebner said. Murder is much more serious than stealing an M16 or something.
I'm just trying to prevent any more things like this, that's all. I can see what's going to happen if there's a little jig in the line. You and the provost marshal are going to jump and say, "Aha, we found our man."
The provost marshal won't be reading the charts, and neither will I. We will call a polygraph operator who is not involved in the case. Operators can be obtained, probably come out of Washington, and are very competent and is a disinterested party. He won't care how it comes out.
What does the polygraph tell you? MacDonald asked.
It tells basically what a person believes to be true.
How infallible is it?
While the instrument itself just measures physiological changes.
I know that. I understand that. That's what I mean.
The percentage figures they have had on it is that it's less than 1% they have ever made a mistake on, Grebner said. I mean, these are verified cases. This is on thousands and thousands of cases. These are the statistics that I have. I would say human error is involved in about 4/10 of 1%.
Sounds pretty good, MacDonald said. Now, what happens if this test, what is your strongest evidence? What if the polygraph backs up everything I've said and you still have all this bullshit lying around? Then what happens?
I will be the first guy to shake you by the hand and say I'm sorry.
And if it comes up wrong, if I'm one of the ones who has a little more sweating than usual, then I immediately go to Leavenworth without a trial.
No, in the first place, polygraph can't be used against you.
It can't.
No, it is an investigative tool, Captain. We believe it.
You mean it is not admitted in court? Why not?
There are several reasons, but mainly because with a jury, they wouldn't know how to evaluate this type of evidence as compared to other evidence. If you went to most juries and said, well, there was deception indicated during the polygraph examination, they would overweigh that evidence. And there's always that 4/10 of 1%.
So if I take this polygraph test and it comes out okay, then you people will feel real nice towards me then, right?
As I said, If it comes out no deception indicated, I'll say I'm sorry I bothered you.
Sounds pretty good to me, MacDonald said.
So, if you're willing to take it, Grebner said, I will call and make the arrangements.
Why not? When is this going to be done?
Well, I'd have to call them within the next day or two,
You mean someone is going to fly down here to do this?
probably tonight. Grebner left the office to call CID headquarters in Washington. William Ivory also departed, leaving MacDonald alone in the room with Robert Shaw.
Christ, MacDonald said. This will be in the newspaper within 8 hours. I'll have my mother down here again and my in-laws. I'll tell you what, this is a lot different from what I had in mind. I don't like this. You see, Jesus, this scares me.
Shaw did not reply.
You mean to tell me that this thing is never wrong? MacDonald said. I find that hard to believe just from any instrument, and I don't like the so much emphasis placed on what looked to me like pretty superficial things. That's the only thing I'm scared of, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, it seems to me that you guys have gone on some pretty mild stuff in calling me a family murderer. I'm not asking, it's just my own feelings in the matter right now are that it looks a little dangerous to me because uh, Jesus, that looks like pretty minor stuff. And in my own mind, I can explain it very easily, and not feel bad about it, if you know what I mean.
Still, Shaw did not respond.
I mean, McDonald continued, if I was investigating, I would say, Jesus, so the table? So the table is top heavy. What if her knee was against it when it went over? It doesn't seem to me to be that you can call a person in and take what's left from him on something like that. It just doesn't hold any water. And there's not much left. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, said Shaw, as you know, there's been a lot of work. We've had every major CID office in the continental United States doing work for us. We've had most FBI offices doing work for us. Everything, every aspect. And it's just not there, Captain MacDonald. Those people you saw just can't be found anywhere. People like them? Yes. There's been, I won't say arrests, but there have been thousands of detainments all over the country.
Okay. Two possibilities, McDonald said. One, they haven't been found yet. And two, they've already been questioned and have answered all the questions satisfactorily. Now, isn't that possible? I mean, certainly in a lot of cases, your best team wasn't on every person, if you know what I mean. I'm not implying or anything about individuals, but
That's true.
if you had every office in the country working and every FBI, it is perfectly conceivable that these people have already been questioned, and what's needed now is a break, a lucky thing. A lady says, geez, I used to know a girl, and she always said things like that when she came home looking funny when she was staying at that boarding house, something like that. You know what I mean? You luck into it. And maybe I'm just, I'm hoping for a miracle, but it just seems to me that
It isn't inconceivable, Shaw said.
yeah, I mean, I've read things where you've questioned people many times and it comes back at the end that they questioned him once and he gave satisfactory answers and that was it. I mean, they had a place or a time or no motive, whatever, and it's a big country and a lot of people in it.
That's right, Shaw said.
As you know better than I do, trying to find someone.
I hope this thing comes out like that, Shaw said. I really do.
So do I, McDonald said.
Rebner returned to the office to say that the polygraph operator would be arriving that night and that the test would be administered either the next day or the day after that.
Okay, McDonald said. Is that it?
Yup.
Okay. Jeffrey MacDonald left CID headquarters at 3:30 p.m. 10 minutes later, He called to say that he had changed his mind. He would not take a polygraph test after all. Section break.
Section break. And this is the only first and last time Grebner will become the protagonist and scene, carrying a whole scene unto himself. Grebner decided to take the operator, excuse me, Grebner decided to have the operator come anyway and to talk to MacDonald again in the morning. Then he notified the provost marshal that MacDonald had finally been questioned. Then Grebner left for the officers' club where he often met his wife after work. The day had not gone badly, Grebner reflected. Given the night to brood about the fact that the CID was convinced he was a murderer, MacDonald might yet confess. That, Grebner felt, would certainly be preferable to trying to court-martial a Green Beret doctor from Princeton on charges of triple homicide in a case based entirely on circumstantial evidence. At least MacDonald had not refused to answer questions. Given his detailed account of the attack and his ensuing movements, and the many conflicts between it and the physical evidence, the case against him was much stronger now than it would have been had he simply exercised his constitutional right not to talk. Boom. All right, I'm going to read one more paragraph, and then you can take us home. The
Okay.
goal from this point forward, Grebner felt, was to keep him talking, to take advantage of the fact that he obviously considered himself so much smarter than anyone else. Much would depend on the next 24 hours, Grebner believed. The one thing he did not want was for MacDonald suddenly to demand an attorney and decline to answer any further questions.
Grebner stepped up to the officers' club bar and ordered his drink. Even before it was delivered, an acquaintance called out, "Congratulations!" Puzzled, Grebner asked what the occasion was. Why, MacDonald, of course. They just broadcast the provost marshal's statement on the radio. What statement? Grebner asked in alarm. They were still in the midst of interrogation. There was not to have been any statement. That you guys finally decided MacDonald did it after all. Leaving his drink untouched, Grebner rushed back to his office. It was true. The provost marshal had felt that for public relations purposes, it was necessary to inform the press that, quote, after 6 weeks of careful investigation and examination of all evidence, we have been prompted to consider Dr. MacDonald a suspect, unquote. The statement had added that while formal charges had not yet been filed, MacDonald had been relieved of his duties and placed under restriction pending further disposition of the case. As a public relations gesture, the statement had the desired effect. It even made the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite. Franz Joseph Grebner, however, knew immediately that he would never again have the chance to ask Jeffrey MacDonald any questions. Wow. Got to talk about the craft, man. The decision
Yeah,
on
to give
Joe's
Grebner
part to make Grebner the
the main
subject.
character.
Yeah.
You can just imagine he's just standing at a bar getting a drink. Not a bad day.
Yep.
Still got a lot of fucking shit to do. Could have been a lot worse. And
Yeah,
then
we got him. We got this guy. He keeps
just when we're
talking. Keep him talking. Keep him talking.
it's like, thank God he was so stupid to answer questions at all. And he that really he was underselling it to himself. They really fucking nailed him by getting him to sit for that day, as we said the last few weeks. And yeah, just as soon as we're getting to know Grebner, he's gone for the book because the provost marshal made him irrelevant immediately. He can do nothing else to close this case.
Yeah, it's very painful to let go of Grebner.
Yeah, he's depicted very well in the TV movie by a good actor, so I have no idea what he looks like in real life. I'll have to Google it. Um, but
Yeah.
I would say that, um, can I say shit on this podcast? The provost marshal was full of shit, man. What a stupid thing to do. If you're gonna play speculation, what you so okay, is McDonald, is this like his first real lucky break
Yeah.
that his the CID like just had their investigation terminated immediately for no reason, for public relations reasons?
Yeah. Well, it's a good counter argument to the
Um,
Errol Morrises of the world who say that the investigation was botched and that hurt MacDonald. In fact, some of the botching helped him.
well, actually, what I was talking to Matt on Friday is Matt Zoni. He was saying we were talking about the breaks he got, or I was bringing up whether, and this is jumping ahead a bit, whether if the specter of Posey hadn't been injected by it's not Posey, Stokely hadn't been injected by Posey into the Article 32, whether it would have gone forward to court martial and they would have gotten him. And Zoni's like, well, I don't think the army was probably more than happy to let the whole thing fold out the way it did. Just sort of,
Mm.
they didn't want because then, oh, if they let him go, there's no definitive action, and then civilian authorities can take it over, and then it's, once he's out of the army, it's not their problem ever again.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was a,
Yeah, but yeah, I see that. I also think there were some guys on the team in the military that really
oh yeah,
thought he had murdered these people horribly and wanted to get him, right?
yeah. These three investigators clearly,
Yeah.
Ivory, Shaw, and Grebner, and then and then the anonymous Article 32 prosecutor who'd never been interviewed until Smerling discovered him.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
Yeah, he said he had never been interviewed and not in the
he's like, how
book.
come we've never talked about this before? No one's ever asked. Uh,
Oh man.
so man, we're just sitting here. We're just like sitting here in the absolute jubilation of knowing that we're almost completing the part one of the book, and it's just an amazing moment.
Yeah.
To have McDonald's be under formal suspicion. Um,
Yep.
and what do we think about some of the things we covered today? Like Joe seems to be saying, well, like realizing that they know about Carlucci and they're more thorough than he thought makes him less keen on polygraphy. And I mean, the whole sort of monologue he gives Robert Shaw is just so beautiful at the end, where he's able to like walk himself, if I was an investigator, and and the fact that you have so many people looking for them makes it even more likely for them to get away, because not every office is going to have their best people.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was so crazy.
Yeah, every FBI office and every army. Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's why there's too many people trying to help.
You guys with this polygraph, like you're trying to nail me on these really, really weak, superficial things. And so what? Like I get a little nervous, like my hands sweat a little bit, and you send me away to prison forever.
Like you can sort of see the caustic sarcasm that is becomes his trademark and his downfall in every single step of the legal process here, like just shining forth like absolute glory at the end. So if there's a little jig in the line, you're gonna say, "Aha!" and then and then when Grebner's doing the morally indefensible act of sort of like overselling the accuracy of polygraph. It's 99.9999%, and it's a 0.04% chance of human error. He's like, and McDonald's like, huh, sounds pretty good. He's like,
I
you're,
really enjoyed the part where they all leave the room except for, is it Shaw?
yeah, yeah,
And then McDonald just goes on this monologue for a while.
yeah, just free associating for his, just so he just knew that the tape recorder was on and just didn't wanted to fill the silence. Uh, and it's like, Jesus, my in-laws are gonna be down here again, and my mom. Oh my God, it's gonna be all over the papers.
Is he sounding like a guy who's upset about the death of these people at all?
No, I mean that was sort of been the whole problem here, right? It's not that big of a deal. But then he just keeps saying, "You're taking what's left from me."
Right,
Well,
right.
what's left? Like I was like, I still got a lot going for me. You think he'd be more? Well, Jesus, here we go again with the uncharitable, unlovely characterizations of McDonald that a defender could easily pick apart. And like, you don't know how, people cope with grief or trauma,
No, we don't.
and
We don't.
and he could have easily, decided that medicine was just it for him, and that getting back to his work is what he needed to do to function. And just seeing the intervention of the CID charging him with murder was just going to remove him from the only thing keeping him functional. And that was probably why he was overcome with feeling, because had to
Yeah.
his defenses were taken away. No pun intended.
Yeah,
Um,
let me put in a plug here for Joe again.
mhm, mhm.
This is my second time going all the way through the book. I've reread sections of it. And the first time I read it, I just flew through it. I'd been in a drought of reading. I hadn't read a whole book in a while, and I picked up Fatal Vision and just and didn't stop. And I'm thinking about his decision here and throughout to just disappear. Like there are little moments where uh, Joe disappears from the text. The little moments where he adds some color to something, but he just lets the dialogue play out in front of us, such that when we're reading it out loud, we have to play different characters just to keep it going.
Yeah.
And I think there's a brilliance to that in how it keeps the pace up and it allows the reader to just bear witness to what's being said and what's going on. And I also think I could even make like a moral claim about it. I think there's something very humble about Joe doing that. I imagine that the temptation to insert yourself and write beautiful flowery stuff and
Mm.
really make it pop, really like t take a really like swing for the fences, like here's my literary thing. He doesn't do that. And
Oh yeah.
so then those moments when he does step in and he sets a scene like he did with Grebner at the end or like he did with the Kassabs in an earlier chapter, those parts really stand out because of that.
Well, now you're just having me think about, let's like as a master class, let's rewrite this chapter poorly, and where it's like, and in that moment, McDonald knew that he had an Ivory and Shaw exchanged lances.
Oh yeah, it's a bunch of exposition too.
Grebner cocked an eyebrow.
And
Uh,
gradually McDonald's story fell apart.
McDonald sipped his Diet Coke and leaned back in his chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's
No,
a
no, but there'd be those examples. But then you're right. No, for like a no, as a nonfiction, a master of journalism would be like try to like tell you how significant this moment was.
yeah.
And like Joe just came at the very beginning and says this account will stick to him like tar, no matter how hard he would try to distance himself from it. And
Yep.
then he just lets you sit in the account forever, the whole thing.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a few weeks.
Yeah, so it's very comprehensive and he cut out a lot, but he left a lot in. A lesser book with a lesser team, obviously. Kudos to the editors for letting Joe write a really long book full of tons of transcripts because the temptation to make it a lean 280 page book, slam bam. You could just make McDonald had a really rough interrogation
Yeah,
and
he gave his story. He said this happened, and they showed him that that couldn't have happened, and he stormed out.
yeah, he stormed out of there. And later that day, it was announced that he was a suspect. Anyway, next chapter. No, yeah, I remember. I remember too. The first time I read the book, I was really struck. I remember I was. This is when I was really like hooked. Um, like I couldn't stop reading the entire. Like I just kept going. Once I got into there, just hearing McDonald's, all of his weird talk um, and just the absolute dread I could sort of feel for him as the inevitable accusation was just coming, but coming so slow over time. And they're
Yeah.
just slow, and they're like, well, I'm not sharpshooting you here, but you know, you said earlier that your pajama top was that. I was like, oh yeah, I never, he's like always he's already mixing things up, and um, so yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in literary history. It's just the April 6th. To those who celebrate, it's one of the best days in the history of books and writing.
Mm, yeah.
Oh yeah, and anyone who's got the real audio tape of that too, we'll pay money.
Yeah, we gotta find it. We gotta
Yeah,
find it.
we're gonna get our hands on the real tape very soon.
Gotta manifest it.
Yeah, no, we're just putting out the vibe and groveling really for it.
All right,
Well,
11:35 p.m. in the
yeah.
east.
So how long did we get? Was this going to be a significantly long episode?
We went for a while, yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's not
Well,
going to
because
be
we warmed up with your 10-minute rant about the one star guy.
that
But
was all me, huh? You didn't do any.
yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't rant at
I
all.
was trying to talk you off the ledge. Yeah.
So was that making you really uncomfortable?
No, man, I accept you, man. I accept you. I'm just trying to pray for that guy, man.
That guy names himself Cool Fool. He's one of those two things.
You be the
Anyway,
judge.
you'd be the judge. Well, Cool Fool 33,
He
we
was
will meet
either
again.
cool or he was a fool, and there increasingly seemed to be no middle ground.
Oh, that could have been something. It's like, and in that moment, McDonald knew he was either cool or a fool. It had yet to be revealed which one he would be. As the sun went down on April 6th, Grebner shook his head, chagrined.
Some GBT.
Yeah, we should just like run the whole Fatal Vision through GBT and just see how monstrously
All
bad it could
right.
become.
Write a
All right,
write a paragraph about Jeff MacDonald's April 6th interrogation in which his story doesn't add up.
Are you telling it to be like, really highfalutin and literary?
Be literary. Let's see. On April 6, under the sterile glare of fluorescent lights, Jeffrey MacDonald sat across from military investigators, the walls closing in with every question. His voice, clipped and clinical, delivered a tale meant to sound precise, but the seams of his story frayed under the weight of scrutiny. The details came too clean, too rehearsed. His account of the struggle, the hippie intruders, the flickering of a woman's floppy hat in the chaos. Why is the hat flickering?
Flickering, a flickering hat. That's worse than a candle dripping blood.
Each piece arranged like set dressing rather than raw memory. And when pressed, when asked to reconcile the bloodstains with the bodies, the fibers with the weapons, his narrative wavered, a house of cards in a draft. Something was wrong. The story didn't breathe like truth. It gasped like a lie, trying too hard to be believed.
That's brutal, man. That was
That was
uh
generated by AI, in case anybody at home.
yeah, that was not Billy freestyling.
The floppy
Um
hat flickered. Holy
it
shit.
flick the hat was flickering.
All right, well, on that
All
note,
right. On that note, as the hat flickers off, um but instead Grebner sat very still, watching nothing in particular, with the creeping realization that he'd run out of questions.
very good.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll be back soon. We'll end the season on a powerhouse note.
Yep. Good
All
night
right.
and good
Good
luck.
night. Good night. Good luck.